This is Math 96, Quiz 4 topics. Factor a quadratic by the AC method. All right, you might have called it something different before, but basically we have a quadratic or polynomial with the highest power 2 that looks like ax squared plus bx plus c. So what we're doing to factor this is we're going to turn it into a factor by grouping problem. Here's how. We'll multiply the a times the c, whatever those numbers are, and we're looking for two numbers whose product is ac and whose sum is b, that middle coefficient. Once we have these two numbers that fit both of these requirements, we will replace our middle term bx with blank x plus blank x. So we'll break it into those two parts, and then we can continue by using factor by grouping. So let's see how this applies. Number 1 says factor using the AC method, 11x squared plus 20x plus 9. First, choose a form with appropriate signs. The choices are here. Then fill in the blanks. Finally, show the factorization. All right, and so let's take a look. Because the product 11 times 9 will be positive, so that'll be 99. We're looking for two numbers whose product is 11 times 9, or 99. Those same two numbers have to add up to the middle term, the b, 20. That's also positive. And so if they multiply to a positive number and they add up to a positive number, both of those numbers have to be positive. And so we're given 4 different choices of signs for our answers. Notice that only the first one has both of these two middle terms being positive, and so this is actually the form that we want. And so on Alex, you would fill that in. Okay, so let's think about the possibilities of the numbers. So two different numbers that we could use. We could use 1 times 99. Would be 99. We could use 3 times 33, or we could use 9 times 11, and those are the only choices. Let's see what those numbers add up to. So 1 plus 99 would be 100. 3 plus 33 would be 36. And 9 plus 11 would be 20. And so it looks like that final combination is the combination that we want. So we will use the numbers 9 and 11. Okay, so our numbers are 9 and 11. Okay, so we're going to use this format. And so let's fill in our numbers. If you notice, it will actually be easier to factor by grouping if we put the 11 first, so it can be next to the 11x squared. So let's do 11x here and 9x there. And so now, once we've filled in these blanks, we're able to factor by grouping using those first two terms. They have a common factor of 11x. So we would take out the 11x, and that would give us an x plus 1 remaining. In these second two terms, we would have a common factor of 9, so we factored that out and put that in front of the parentheses, so plus 9 times what's remaining, x plus 1. And then each of these parts of the sum has an x plus 1, so we can factor out the x plus 1, and that would leave us with 11x plus 9. And so that is our factorization in this case. And so on Alex, you would enter the factorization x plus 1 times 11x plus 9. All right, let's look at a second example. Factor using the AC method, 5x squared minus 18x minus 8. Now this time, our product 5 times negative 8 would be negative 40. So we're looking for two numbers with a product of negative 40. And you notice that if we have a negative product, that means one of the numbers is positive and one is negative. Okay, those same two numbers have to add up to our middle term, so they have to add up to negative 18. All right, and so think about what sort of numbers we would want. We already said we want a positive number and a negative number. And so we don't want this one where the two terms are positive. We don't want this last one where the two terms are negative. So actually either one of these is correct, but if you're using the ALEX program, I can tell you right now that the ALEX program always picks this one when there's a choice between these two. It wants you to put the negative term and then the positive term, just for ease of factoring. All right, so let's see what those numbers could be. Two numbers with a product of negative 40. And I also think about when I add them, I'm going to get a negative. So I want the larger number, or the number with the larger absolute value, to be negative. So if I did 1 times negative 40, or 2 times negative 20, 3 doesn't go in. I could do 4 times negative 10. I could do 5 times negative 8. 6 doesn't go in. 7 doesn't go in, and then I've gotten to 8. And so those are the only possibilities that I have. Now let's add these numbers. 1 plus negative 40 would be negative 39. 2 plus negative 20 is negative 18. That's the one I want. So this is the pair of numbers that I'll be using. I've already decided that I'm putting my negative number first. And so let's put the negative 20 and the positive 2. And we see that negative 20 times 2 is negative 40, and negative 20 plus 2 is negative 18. So we'll fill those in for the blanks. Minus 20 and plus 2. All right, so if we're factoring this by grouping now, the first two terms have 5x as their common factor. So we would write 5x, and that would leave us with an x minus 4 in parentheses. The second two terms have a common factor of 2. So we'll take out the 2. That would leave us with, again, x minus 4. If we factor x minus 4 out of both of these parts, we have x minus 4 times 5x plus 2. And so that is our factorization, x minus 4 times 5x plus 2.